Good morning all, TGIF. We've got the risk sentiment overview for the 22nd of the 7th, 2022. We went to risk on at the big picture. So that was the first time that's happened in a good while, and that's telling us that the retail guys are now net short. And that's key, because if they're short on an average across the week, which is what this calculates, then we're going to be fairly risk on. We don't want to be doing the same as the dumb money. We want to be doing the opposite of them, and we know how counter trend they are and things like that, and they're emotional, and they're pretty much they're always late to the party, and they're too early to the party. They're never really on point in terms of price direction. So they're now net short at the big picture. The VIX is below the yearly pivot, and the yields came down as well, which so that's traditionally a risk on sign. VIX is being crushed, and the retail sentiment, they're now short, which is what we want. Now, the only difference, little caveat, today's calculation was done after a London market open. So I'm going to be doing this going forward, and that ensures that captures that data at the open. So what would happen is I would do the bulletin maybe 6 o'clock in the morning, and in 2 hours time it would all change, because the London market's opened, and then we're seeing a big spike in price action, and something's happened, or some news event, and basically all the analysis prior to the London Open, it can twist and it can change. So if I manage to capture the sentiment data after 8 AM, then that's going to be like a true value of, going forward. Because what could happen is that it can just drastically change at the 8 AM open. We can see a big sudden shift in price, and it'll shake the retail guys out. In that one big candle, it will then impact the risk calculation. So going forward, I'll be doing it at 8 AM just to ensure it captures any untoward move, in case these guys get scared out or they get induced. So it will just capture the true value of the upcoming session. So 8 AM bulletin, and hopefully understand the logic, because things would change, in an hour. That's how fast things move, especially in the FX market. So there's the yields. They came down, which is good, but they are out of bonk. You can see how we should be seeing increments going higher over time, but clearly not. After the 2 year, it goes down. Right, so that's out of bonk. So we're not out of the woods yet, even though all these things are saying risk on. We are inverted on the curve. Green on the indices, red on dollar CAD, red on oil, and that's that. So dollar, is performing not so great. We did have a fantastic couple of weeks on the dollar, so this would be to be expected, just to have a little bit of a, like a breath, just a sigh of relief. And whether or not this is going to persist, we don't know. We might just end up being flat if things continue, because the dollar is pumping a lot today. Whether or not it's like a legit move, it's probably not, because of the bubbles, which we can see the dollar is strong sell. It's the strongest sell because of the dynamic move across this horizontal plane. It's moved the most. The retail guys have gone long the dollar. So whether or not they're going to get paid today, we'll have to wait and see. But we can find out by looking at the spreadsheet, which is really cool. And as I can show you, there, we can see if they're getting paid. No, not really. 3 out of 7. So out of the 7 currencies, they're getting paid 3 of the 7. So yeah, they're getting paid dollar CAD, they're getting paid dollar Swiss, and dollar yen. So yeah, they are getting paid. So it might just be payday Friday, which happens because they have to get rewarded to come back to the casino. So I think it might just be a payday scenario for the dollar, right? So be careful. We have always got to be careful on a Friday. Snapshot data. So green's obviously buy and red's a sell, but we want to see this number increase away from 0, or this number to increase away from 0, or so I say decrease away from 0. So that would be a stronger buy if we went to -5 or -6, right? So, and that would be a stronger sell if we went to 2 or 3. And there's S&P, so that's the scary wick. So it broke that support, and then of course they sold it. So they're looking at technicals. You know, the traders obviously they're not looking at the sentiment, which is fantastic. They're just looking at the technicals. This is what we want. We want them to be flushed out, and that was a perfect demonstration how that technical would have failed, and it would have got you out at an unnecessary loss, because you can see it went up. It just wanted to break that support to scare the people to short, right? And that's the logic. And you see it all the time. So get a copy of this trading station. I say it every single day, but do get a copy, and then you understand how the market operates, and you know why things happen. S&P, sorry, US 30, a little bit sideways, a little bit of care here. They might go long. If they go long, we'll come down. And likewise the DAX, we might need a break here, like a scary break. Once we do, then you know they'll short it, right? Gold made a buy. We put out a gold signal to sell at 1705 to target at 1690, and admittedly it wasn't a fantastic profit, but it was profit, and we could have probably held it. But we made some nice profit out on that. It hit the stop loss cluster, continued, and it really did fall, and it really panicked the retail guys, and they shorted it really badly. And of course, by doing so, it was a buy. So not a bad trade. I mean, it was enough to keep the to pay the bills. It was quite a good trade. If you're positioned correctly, a $15 move is actually quite nice on gold. There's the yield curve. They're out of bonk. You know that. We're not out of the woods yet. And stop loss cluster. There's the liquidity targets. Dollar CAD is now the largest stop loss cluster, and that's where we were going to look to short at 128.50. Now, if we know that there's a liquidity area there in stops, that might not be the greatest place to short. In fact, that would be potentially a good place to buy, knowing that's where the retail guys are going to get stopped out. So I put out a UC trade recommendation. I'm going to look at it maybe in the evening tonight, and to see how we're doing, and then if I delete the order, I'll let you guys know. But logically, we wouldn't want to be selling at the stop loss cluster, because that's where the retail guys are going to get stopped out, and if they get stopped out, it's going to be acting as a support, because there has to be someone on the other transaction, on the other side of that transaction. If they get stopped out, there's going to be an increase of the opposite volume, and it's going to be a heavy buy volume potentially. And we don't want to be fighting the person on the other side of that transaction, because they've got a lot of money. Right, so we've got to be careful here. Potentially it could be a buy scenario as opposed to a sell scenario, and you know that we're mixed as well. And we want colours to match, right? So AU is matching, UJ is matching, but we don't want to see mismatch ideally. And the promo code after the 1st September, we won't have an amazing discount anymore. It will go to $31. Currently it's $10. So if you get an annual plan, you can get it for $10 a month. If you don't, then you're going to pay $31 a month, which is quite a big increase. So I would go for that annual personally. I am totally going to do that. It's up to you what you want to do, but I would. It's a massive saving. Failure rate, so Aussie is being naughty, and like I said at the top of the video, dollar is being okay. We could be punishing them a little bit more, but it's Friday, so potentially they are going to get paid. They're certainly getting paid on Aussie, so maybe it might just hover around the 60% area, which is fine. It's Friday. It might just be like letting its foot off the gas. So the retail guys are not having too much, too much of a bad day, and so they come back on Monday. If they have a string of losses day in, day out for weeks, they'll just leave the casino and they won't come back. And the big fish don't want that. And that's it. So we had a -12 pip loss yesterday. It's fine. We haven't had a spectacular week. We're pretty much flat. I think maybe 10 or 20 pips down. Which isn't that bad, but we're seeing a transition on the technicals where the cross USD had altered in its technicals, and now it's reverting back. So it was strong sell, then it went to sell, then went to neutral, then we're going to sell again. So we're basically flipping away and back. So the technicals are sort of going back and forth, and because of that, we're not having spectacular results because we have to adhere to technical checks. That's the key. No, we don't just look at sentiment, we're going to look at the sentiment and the technicals, and the technicals are going back and forth, then we're going to see a direct consequence on our signals. And like I say, like EU is neutral. Whether or not we're going to go to sell, we don't know, but it all depends on price action. This is purely technical, okay? And that's it. So enjoy your weekend. And I'm going to be doing some testing on Discord. So I probably recommend maybe just muting the bubble channel for 48 hours, but don't forget to re-enable those notifications, because the signals should be a lot better next week. Now we should be potentially out of this chop, because technically we're on a chop. Like I say, you know, we're veering from strong sell to neutral. We might go back to sell, right? So if we do, it's just going to be a bit chaotic. So next week should be better, hopefully. If not, at least the losses are always small as well. Minus 12 pips a day, we can manage that. That's not really a problem at all. Okay, have a great one, and I'll send out the Discord invites to the public chat. And if you are a paid subscriber and for some reason you're not a member, just direct message me and then send me your email address as well, so I can verify that. And but so far so good. If you're a Patreon subscriber, you get automatic member rights, so you shouldn't have to message me. If you go through Patreon, then you'll have automatically you know, that elevated privilege on Discord. So have a good one, and I'll speak to you guys later.